Hello, I'm Jonathan Morton, and welcome to my series, Judge the Cover, where I take an in-depth look at cover design by picking a book off the shelf and judging what factors helped it succeed or failed at capturing its targeted audience. Today I'll be looking at A Thorn in My Heart by Liz Curtis Higgs. Now, take a good look at this cover. Here's the spine, and here's the first line from the blurb on the back of the book. In the autumn of 1788, amid the moors and glens of the Scottish Lowlands, two brothers fight to claim one father's blessing. Two sisters long to claim one man's heart. Now comment, make a mental note, or write down any emotions, thoughts, themes, or general plot details that you feel this cover is trying to convey. Don't worry, the intro will give you time to think it over.
There's no denying that people judge things by their covers, and it usually comes down to wanting to shy away from or engage more into a particular experience. The saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover," can apply to a variety of situations, and in general, is a good rule to follow. By making snap judgments, we deprive ourselves of the ability to dive deeper, learn more, or experience something new. However, being able to judge a situation quickly can not only protect us, but increase the likelihood of engaging in experiences we already enjoy. In the book world, covers craft these expected experiences in readers' minds. So, the question becomes, how do you get the right readers to pick up your book? I believe it's all about how they judge the cover.
Now let's see what A Thorn in My Heart's cover can teach us today. To be honest, the spine does a great job at telling me everything I need to know about this book. It takes an image from the front cover, which is the most perfect thing it could have done for its targeted audience, as this image just reads contemporary romance. I mean, there is no other genre that this face could fit into. More on that later. Then we're led to the title, which suggests possibly something forbidden that the character wants to do, or maybe a hidden secret that stops her from acting on something. As we continue reading, we're stopped by this nice little symbol. It serves as a visual separator from the title and the author's name. Obviously, it has some Celtic type symbolism on it, which suggests where the story takes place. I want to take a moment to pause here as well, because since I've been analyzing spines more lately, I've noticed that the really good ones have creative ways to make sure you read the title, pause, and then read the author's name. This led me to think about doing an episode about designing good spines, and was wondering if all of you would be interested in something like that. If so, let me know in the comments below. But for now, let's get back to today's book. The gold band under the author's name is just a bit too messy. I understand the Celtic symbolism, but to place the publisher's logo on top of it was a bad idea. It almost makes me wonder if the designer made the spine and forgot that the publisher symbol would go there, as it may have come later in the design process. I don't know, but I would have preferred that it be left plain, which would have allowed the publisher's logo to be more visible. I'd also scale the logo up a little bit so that it could be a little bit easier to read. If you watched my first video explaining the series, you already know what my personal score is, and let's just say the spine plays a big role in that decision. But before all that, let's get back to the front cover. The first thing I noticed was that they changed the font on me. The spine was so elegant and easy to read, but this front, it's a little messy. I mean, it's okay, I get it, it's more personable because it's handwritten, and it's a good contrast between the rest of the words on the cover. I think I don't like it because it looks cursive, especially in the my part, but the rest of it doesn't. It also feels a little squished together. It's not horrible, but it just feels a little so-so. Underneath that is the thing that confirms that this is indeed a novel. I like how we have to clarify that nowadays, with proof of why we should care about the author, as she is a best-selling author. Now, I'm not trying to diss Liz here at all, but what does it actually mean anymore? People slap that stuff on books all the time, so much so that it feels worthless now. I mean, one day I hope to put something like that before my name, so what can I really say about it? I just find it interesting is all. Then we get the author's name, set up like the publisher's logo should have been set up on the spine. Although it's not perfect, and it's still a little messy, the red letters do help it pop a bit more, and it's stretched out long enough to make her name easy to read. The thing that's going to sell the book the most, however, though, is the picture of the woman on the front cover. I assume she's the main character, and like I said before, that look and posture can only come from a contemporary romance book. I mean, I've tried picturing it with flames behind her, a scary woods, and even a dark figure creeping up behind her, but they all can still sell as contemporary romance. I think the warm colors of her clothes and the softening of her facial features adds to this idea as well. The painted-like background also makes her pop which suggests a very romanticized atmosphere. I'm usually not for having real people on the cover, but the only exception I would make is for romance novels, because the targeted audience is looking for that. Why? Well, I believe it has to do with the connection they form with the story's character. The main drama or tension in these types of stories comes from the character's emotional state, so connecting with a human right off the bat like this helps readers become more engaged with the story. But these are just my thoughts on it. Why do you think models are more popular in the romance genre on book covers than any other genre that we've seen before? Either way, I'm just glad we haven't run into any author quotes yet. Now let's get to the back. There they are. The quotes are okay, but they are a little bit spoilerish. I guess I can forgive the second one because, if I were to be honest, ultimately triumphant ending is one of the reasons why the reader took the book home in the first place. It slightly sparks my attention with this bit about the two brothers fighting. I get it, it's something a little interesting to get potential male readers interested, but it's not enough for me to overlook the romantic overtones I know are going to be the main theme of the book. Also, I mean no offense to guys who like romance. I like a little bit of it in my books myself as well, but a book centered around it is just not my style. The next section seems to be taken from the book. It both shows the central theme of the story without giving away any of the events that take place in it, and gives the sense of the author's writing style. So I like it. We move further down and find that there is a reading instruction guide, which is ingenious, as it perfectly gets who its target market is. If you don't know, contemporary romance is the go-to type of book for a lot of Christian women. And something they like to do is get together and do women's devotionals. So there's a set group already set up for you. It's not a huge leap to get some of that group to decide to read your book, especially, and this goes beyond the book cover, when you've created other devotionals yourself. You not only sell your book to one person, but whole groups of people at a time. I wish I could figure out a way to do this with the book that I'm working on. But again, I need to pull myself back to the cover. It ends with an about section of the author, and as we pull back and look at the whole thing, it looks very clean. It's easy to read, and it uses color in different text styles to separate all the different information. The main thing I like about the back is how, although it's not at the top, the red letters draw you to the main part of the blurb first, focusing you on the book itself instead of what others are saying about it. I thought that was a really nice touch. But I know you guys don't care about that at all. You're here for the score. Despite all the praise I'm giving it, I'd still give the book my personal score of skimmed right over it. It's not the cover's fault, I just know the type of books I like, and when it comes to contemporary romance, it just doesn't do it for me. So I thought I would do a thought experiment and examine what this cover would have to do to be designed to capture my eye. It would have had to have the image of the two brothers fighting, and that would have been the worst thing this book cover could have done. Like I've said before, covers are about grabbing the targeted audience and making promises that you plan to fulfill in the book, so that one day the readers will suggest it to others. If I picked this up with the cover that was designed for me, and then read it, I'd be very angry because although it had two brothers fighting, I would have felt cheated because it's not the central theme. But what about the targeted audience? When it comes to romances, there are two main categories: the contemporary romance like this one, and the erotic books that fill the odd section of the grocery store I always want to visit, because sometimes you can find good non-erotic books there for cheap. Anyways, the main difference in their covers are one goes for lust while the other goes for emotion. Now, I'm not saying the themes don't show up in either book types, it's just that there is a reason why one shows shirtless men and the other has a woman looking far off into the distance. That said, the target market for this book is obviously women who want a more contemporary love story, and for them, I believe this book receives an instant buy, which further means it gets the coveted seal of approval! Oh yeah. Despite some of its issues with font and that odd spot on the spine, it does its job at communicating what it is and sets up those expectations appropriately to its intended audience. But what do you think? Let me know below what score you would have given Thorn in My Heart's cover, and if I accurately identified the targeted market for this book. If A Thorn in My Heart caught your attention like it did my wife's, I linked its Amazon page below for your convenience. It's an easy way to add it to your TBR list, get a sample of it for your ebook, or just buy it. Thank you again for watching. If you have any covers that you think need to be judged, or you would just like them to be analyzed, please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share, as it'll help me grow the channel and allows me to continue making content like this. And as always, don't forget to learn, create, and help others do the same. I'll see you next time.